Hi everyone, I hope you're well. Thanks for clicking on the video. Some more Last of Us content for you guys today. Still coming off the back end of last week where they released the trailer for season 2 on HBO. There's lots to talk about, right? One of the main things I think is most intriguing about everything is that I believe they're going to be changing up how they present the story to us this time around compared to the video game. Of course, we've seen season 1. We've already seen that it's not going to be a carbon copy of the game, but I think this in particular is pretty significant, right? I believe that, of course, if you guys have played the game, part 2, you're familiar with that narrative and how they presented the story to us. You know, there's a lot of time jumps, bunch of memories, we're all over the place, back and forth. I don't believe they're going to do that this time around. I think we're going to see far less time jumping, if any at all, unless it's in like the form of a memory. But I don't believe we're going to see things in a non-chronological order like we did in the game. You know, like there was a lot of, we did like a week or so with Ellie, go back, do it again with Abby. There's some time jumps here and there between them, and it's kind of all over the place, right? And I loved it for the game, but I don't think it necessarily makes much sense to do it that way for the show. And of course, we've heard Neil Druckmann talk about before how, because we've seen season 1, things aren't going to be the same, that things are going to be different. So we know that they're open to the idea of changing things, right? And other than me just having a hunch, I think there are certain scenes from the trailer, much like the one with Isaac and the Seraphite, that to me kind of show that, okay, perhaps things are happening chronologically this time around, you know what I mean? Because that scene in particular, I believe it's probably around just before halfway through the game, which is a long time, right? It's a big game. But even though that's the case, it probably, in terms of the Last of Us timeline, it happens around day 1 of Ellie being in Seattle. So it's actually, while it's later on in the game a little bit, it's actually happening much earlier on the timeline. And I understand that's not a bulletproof point, because perhaps, to be fair, I could see a world where they can make that fit into the next season. But I think the next scene from the trailer, really shows 100%, if anything, that hey, they're definitely showing things to us much more chronologically this time around. And that, of course, is the porch scene with Joel and Ellie, which in the game, it's right at the end, it's the last scene, right? But in terms of the Last of Us timeline, it's before all of it. It's, before Joel's death, he's alive at that point. So the whole game happens after his death. So the fact that that's in this trailer for season 2, it would have no business being in the trailer for season 2, right? Unless they're showing us the things chronologically. And I like 100% I am with them for doing it in this way. I think it gives us time, to really get comfortable with the characters. It lets the show breathe. Of course, the pacing can kind of afford, like the Last of Us Part 2 game, right? They can afford to be a little more up and down with the pacing, right? It's a massive game. You're going to spend like 20 to 30 hours with the thing. They can afford to do that. I think for the show, it wouldn't make as much sense to do that. I think they want to keep us all really just invested, right? I think if they're going to have multiple episodes where the pacing is down here, much like it is in the parts of the game, it wouldn't make a ton of sense, right? So yeah, we'll see, right? I'm really looking forward to season 2 on HBO. Again, I know this doesn't sound too significant, but it really is, and it really does affect the story and how they're going to present it to us in a massive way that really could make it differ even more so from the game than what season 1 did to part 1. You know what I mean? That's a big deal. So for now though, guys, if you enjoyed, please leave a like, subscribe to my channel for more content like this. If you have any thoughts and opinions on this topic or The Last of Us Season 2 in general, leave a comment. I'll get back to you when I have the time. Thanks, guys.